Hello everyone, welcome back to another breakdown, and this time we're gonna talk about the song Xtal or Crystal by Aphex Twin. But before we do, please make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this here on this channel. Okay, let's dive into the song. This song has a little controversy around the pronunciation of its title. A lot of people say it Xtal, and some other people argue that the X is actually an abbreviation that is actually pronounced Crystal, like the abbreviation to Christmas. But nevertheless, this song was released in the first studio album by Aphex Twin, which is named Selected Ambient Works from 85 to 92. It's actually the first song on the record. This album was the result of the early songs released by Aphex Twin, only among his friends and on the electronic dance music scene that he was a part of. He said on some interviews that the songs that feature in the Selected Ambient Works were mixed in cassette. It was distributed among his friends and some got copied. That was the cause for how distorted, how noisy, and how wobbly most of the songs from this album sound, including Crystal. We're gonna talk about the fact that everything's a little bit saturated, distorted. Some notes even vary on the tuning because of the wobbly effects of the tape. All of the elements happening in the song kind of get a little dirty over it because of the cassette treatment that they had. Which is actually a cool thing because it introduces some organic energy to the song, to the tracks, to the production, especially then in the era of the 90s. This is a song that is heavily based on a sample taken from the song called Evil at Play by Stevie Jeffries, Mary Carey, and Donald Gregg. And Aphex took just a little cut, just a little snippet from this song and put into a sampler, I suppose, that he owned, and played some chords. It's an interesting case because most of Aphex songs are not so much based on samples. He tends to create the sounds that he uses by himself. I mean, he creates it from the zero, from the ground. And we'll try to recreate the sample and the foundation of the song, as you guys gonna see later on. So yeah, this is a fairly simple song. The structure of it's fairly simple. We start here with this intro. Aphex presents us with the chords right here in the intro, and then moves on to a kick hitting on 4 on the floor. Not very common rhythm to Aphex. It's not so often that he uses the 4 on the floor rhythm, but this is an example of that. And right after that, he changes the rhythm a little bit, trying to make something kind of a break beat, something like that. And after that, we see a little bit more of the kick that was 4 on the floor, just a little bit, and things die here, things end here with, again, this kind of a break beat, kind of a breakdance beat, kind of. It's a little variation on the boom bap, on a kind of a hip hop sound of a rhythm. And the chords that are using this sample as a source plays throughout most of the song, and the harmony of the song doesn't really change so much. It's way more about the atmosphere of the track and how things come and go. Okay, it's a very repetitive song, but with tiny elements, minor changes in texture and in instruments and feels and things like that that give the listener food for thought, and try to figure out the elements, because it's a little of a muddy mix. Things are a little bit tough to figure out, which is the thing we're going to discuss. But enough talk. Let's dive into the song for real right now. Let's talk about first the tempo here, the BPM. The BPM of the song is 114, as you can see here on the upper left. Once again, I'm feeling a little change on tempo on the BPM, and this time it's really small changes. I'm gonna demonstrate that for you guys right now. So the beginning here with the 4 on the floor kick, things are very precise with the tempo. Let's hear it. Right? Everything's sounding okay here. I'm gonna delete the automation and just keep the same tempo here. So 114 here. But if we jump to here and listen again with the same BPM, let's hear how things are. It's a little off. Do you guys agree? Alright, here it's dead on. But in the middle of the song, things are a little bit different. And it's a minor difference, it's a minor change, but when a new section enters, usually it shifts a little bit. And I'm assuming this is happening because the cassette, the way that he mixed was on tape, and it was a copy after a copy, so probably some stuff happened there. Here with the automation would be something like this. And if we went here, all right. But as I said, it's a small change. I think you can safely just go with the 114. So let's talk about the intro and how the song starts. Let's hear it. Oops, let's turn off the metronome. It sounds like a 4-bar loop again, but the second 4-bar cycle has a little change, has a little variation here that makes it kind of an 8-bar cycle. Okay, let's hear it once again. This last one is a little bit higher than this one here. Let's hear this one because of the volume variation. It's a little bit tricky. All right, it's a little bit different, and yeah, but it's not that much of a difference, but it kind of makes it an 8-bar cycle. The chords here, things here in this song are a little bit difficult to understand, to figure out, because as I said, there's a lot of things happening with a lot of distortion, a lot of reverb and noise, and things are a bit tricky to understand. But I'm thinking that's what's happening here on this 8-bar cycle, which starts with this interval here that is a G and a B flat. And I used to hear this in the beginning, but I've seen some other people arguing that this should be the case, especially a guy named Cinemax that made the MIDI notes to recreate the samples, and without him I couldn't even figure this out. I was able to kind of recreate it a little bit because of that guy. I'm gonna link his channel down here in the description. And his MIDI notes are those here. And when I tried to figure out the notes of the song for real, I was hearing actually this here. Like this. And I guess you were like this. I was hearing this at first. I'm gonna turn this on. I'm turning this bass off. I'm gonna turn this on. Right? I think it's pretty close anyway, those notes here, but they're probably pretty accurate. But as I tried to recreate the sample the MIDI notes that Cinemax found out were a little bit more accurate and made more sense to the song, especially the duration of, especially the duration and how long notes should hold. So yeah, this is how he saw things. He heard. This is how he listens to the rhythm, which I think it's pretty close to what I heard at first. With this little variation here in the end, instead of being an F and a B flat, is a C, a G, and a C. Okay. When we talk about the sample, this will make a little bit more of us. This will make more sense. There is also this bass here doing a G, an E flat, and an F. The notes here that I'm thinking are happening is I think this one is a G minor going into an E flat major and ending things here with the B flat with probably with an F on the bass here. Okay, and the next one, it's the same chord progression, this next one here, with the exception of this last chord here that I don't know, could be doing a C minor. I'm not sure about this chord here. Okay, but the main chord progression, I believe it's G minor going to an A B flat major, then going to a B flat major again. So this song is pretty much using the notes of the G minor scale or its relative major, the B flat major scale. All right, and the chord progression is pretty much this one that I showed you guys. As I said earlier, this sound here on the song, let's hear it. Was a little bit tricky to understand. I tried to EQ some of the frequencies to understand it, and you could see you could actually see that some of them were a little bit detuned. I'm guessing because of the wobbly kind of effect that tape introduced to some of the recordings, and because of the sample being probably detuned too. But the thing is that the sound of it, as you can maybe grab it, resembles a little bit of a choir, some people singing, and it's because it's coming from this song here. Let's take a listen to this. This woman singing here, it's pretty familiar. So Aphex is pretty much using two bits of this song as samples as the foundation to do Xtal, to do a crystal, to do this song here. I tried to recreate this. It's a little bit tough. It was a little bit tricky. As I said, the video that Cinemax put out, actually doing it, shed some light on it and made things a little bit easier. The hardest part to do here was actually to find the exact spot where Aphex took the cut, the snippet from the sample, and looped it in his sampler. How I did it? I created this track here, this MIDI track, and put a sampler here from Ableton, and then I put this track over here, the Evil Play, the original source of the sample. And then by try and error, I was trying to find a spot where things could maybe sound familiar to what the track sounds, like this. I mean, obviously it's not there, so I would be like, I started here and then... Okay, this one's a little bit closer. But there are other elements entering here that are not part of the sample, as you can hear. But you get closer. So I was just messing around, trying to find something. This one here. Right? It's a little bit closer, too. But as I said, Cinemax already did this job, and he pointed out that the It was probably around 16 seconds into the sampler, and I tried to go to his way, to go into what he said, and found out this snippet here that I thought it was pretty close to what the song actually sounds like. So let's listen. Especially because of this ending here. This was something that was trying to guide me. It's not so accurate, but it's a little bit closer if we compare to the actual sound of it. Both of them playing together. Right? Yeah. And the second part was not so hard, but I'm not even sure if that's so accurate, because this one here I had to do it myself, and it was the part where the woman was singing a little melody, and I took just snippets from it and tried to go with the feeling. So I did something like this. Let's listen to them both together. So yeah, I took some little snippets from the original song here. Now I can't even remember from where, and I detuned it 2 semitones down, and yes, this is what I got. So yeah, this is more or less how you recreate this one. The MIDI notes here are doing those notes. If you guys have been watching my other videos, you saw that I tried to replicate the One More Time sample in the Daft Punk song, the last video, and there I did something different. I took some cuts from the song and tried to glue them together using some warping. But this time, Aphex actually used the sampler, so it would make more sense to feed the sampler with this song here, to put this song inside the sampler and try to recreate the chords that he's playing. Okay. Later on, I tried to replicate and to recreate the other elements of the drum and the beat, and I'm gonna show you guys a little version that I created myself. Okay, so yeah, this is how you recreate this song. If you guys actually want to see this project or something, I'm gonna upload this, so just email me or something like that and try to reach me, and I can send you guys this one. All right, so if any doubts or anything, just leave in the comments, and as this is probably gonna be a long video, I'm gonna timestamp the parts where I'm gonna talk about the chords or how to recreate some sounds and stuff like that. Okay, so let's continue this. So yeah, we get pretty much presented with this intro here that is like 16 bars long with the chords being played here. We get this bass around here. It's another tricky one. I wasn't so sure about the bass here. Let's check it out. I'm gonna highlight the bass. At first, I was actually listening this to this here. But I'm not sure, guys. I don't know. It's really tricky to be sure which one is more accurate, because even with an EQ, it's tough to grab the notes, because there's a lot of information happening because of the usage of a lot of samples and probably due to the material being recorded on the poor source, not so hi-fi, I think. Okay, and I mapped this little melody here because I didn't at the beginning I wasn't really sure if this was a sample or not. I was just listening and actually capturing this melody here. From time to time it happens. And it's every time that this chord's a little bit different when it ends the 8-bar cycle, okay? And it's actually because of what I showed you before. It's part of the sample, it's part of the MIDI note here being a little bit more stretched and playing the sampler a little bit longer, all right? It gets those little bells ringing at the end. Let's check it out. We're gonna hear right here. Da, 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 and then starts and ends again. And then when I was trying to map the notes, that's what I would hear. Right? But yeah, let's move on. Here we're gonna be presented to our kick. Oh, before actually, I forgot. We get this hi-hat pattern happen from the beginning here. It's doing this pattern here. It's hitting those two notes as a closed hi-hat. And then on the 2 and on the 4 is hitting open. It's an open hat hitting, okay? So it goes like this one, those two fourth notes here, and then an open hat here. So let's hear for that. I'm gonna highlight it. Doesn't even need, right? It's not even necessary. But it's doing this pattern here. And then, after the 16 bars that I said before, we get the kick here, hitting 4 on the floor. Turning it off. Yeah, so we get this first 16 bars here. are just the chords being played with the hi-hat presenting us a little bit of the rhythm. We have this bass happening. I think it's happening from here, but I think it's a little bit filtered, or maybe it's just a crescendo on the volume of things happening. And after this 16 bars, we get the kick here. It's the only new element that we get presented, and we get another 16 bar cycle, and after that we're gonna be introduced with the second sample that I already showed you guys here. That is the woman singing, parts of the singing happening on the sample of the song Evil at Play. All right, let's listen for that. Turn the kick off. It turns in. Once again, as I didn't know it was a sample, I've mapped the notes, and the melody that the woman is singing, it's kind of this. Alright? And down here where I recreated, it's, if you could listen to it isolated, it should sound something like this. It's a little bit like that, okay? But there is a lot of reverb here and things are a little bit bigger. Actually, they're huge. But yeah, we get this pattern here with the kick hitting 4 on the floor, this hi-hat as I showed you guys earlier, and this sample of the woman singing for more or less 24 bars until something new happens. So let's listen to the 16 bars cycle until the next segment. Let's go. Cool. at this area here, we get introduced to our snare and to an open hi-hat. This section here, it's again tough to understand. Let me close this. It's again tough to understand because it's allegedly it's coming from a sample from this song here that people refer to as a posh break. I don't know. Let's take a listen. I'm not sure if it's coming from this sample here. I could give you guys the link so you try to recreate it. I didn't bother so much trying to recreate this because I didn't think it was so important to the sound, and I didn't really recognize this as the case. But yeah, you get this snare here entering, and along with this open hat here doing eighth notes, and the kick here changes. It's not anymore a 4 on the floor. It's a new thing, and probably if we accept that is actually a sample from this song here, then that's probably why it's so tough to understand what the kick's doing. But I tried to recreate it the way that I'm kind of listening to it. So let's hear, but from this last 16 bars here. The kick changes. We get a snare now and an open hi-hat. Once again. And the open hat here. The hi-hat that started things here, the closed one along with the open one, is gonna come back here but with a different pattern again. So let's listen for that. But yeah, so this new pattern here is gonna be repeating for a long time, but right here the chords are gonna drop for the first time they've been playing since the beginning. But after this new rhythm here, we get 32 bars, I think, and then the chords are gonna drop. And after this 16 bars here without the chords, we're gonna be presented to new harmony information by this synth here, by this new pad. So let's listen from this part here into the drop. Chords drop, and now we only have the chords drop, and now we only have the woman singing, the sample for the woman singing. Something that I didn't mention is that when this break kind of happens here, the bass kind of sounds a little bit different too, but I really couldn't catch the notes that it's doing. Some people argued that it's doing those notes here, but I'm not sure. I don't think so actually, but I couldn't catch it. It's kind of a sub doing some movement down there. As everything's so muddy, it's so tough to understand what's happening. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have any suggestions, please leave it in the comments and tell me what you guys think. But after this, the chords are gonna drop, and we're gonna just maintain this sample of the woman singing coming from the Evil at Play song, and we're gonna hold this for 16 bars here, and as I said, the synth here is gonna come into place. Let's listen for that. Without the chords playing, we have way more space, and you can hear the sample more clear, and the beat too. But here comes the synth. beautiful, man. So cool, man. And this synth here, I'm supposing it's doing these chords here. The first one, thinking I'm hearing a B flat major going to what I think it's an E flat, and then again a B flat major, I suppose. I'm not so sure about this. Okay, so I'm gonna highlight this one. I'm gonna turn it on to share it with you guys if you agree with me. Alright. So at this point here, I tried to make my own version of the song actually, and I'm gonna show you guys what I think it's happening here in this song. Let's listen to what I did first. I'm gonna turn all the elements that I've mapped from the song, okay, and let's listen to them playing together. Maybe it's a little bit more chill than the actual song, but I think it's a little bit close to what the song sounds like. I would love to do a full version of this. This made me feel a little bit excited how things would sound, but I really don't have the time to do it all, but was just trying to show you guys what is maybe happening behind all of the noise and distortion and the reverb and all of the elements, throwing some dirt over the song and maybe foreshadowing the importance of some of the elements. Okay, so yeah, I think this part is one of the highlights of the song. So yeah, I hope you guys like this. If there's any suggestions, as usual, please leave it in the comments. I'm not so sure about the chords of this song and the elements that are happening here, but yeah, and this pad here, I'm hearing this movement here, those last notes here. I'm hearing a D coming in. Rising. I don't know if it's from actually this pad or for some other elements. I'm not so sure about that. Yeah, and here it's isolated. We could maybe check this out a little better. Right, there's like I don't know. Tell me your thoughts on this one. So we have this new kind of a segment here with this new synth here that's gonna be leading things. It's gonna be happening for about 36 bars long. Not so much variation happening around, but let's check it out, because this hi-hat here is just gonna do a little drop around here. We only hear the open hi-hat. Comes back. And Aphex introduces a little trick here that's funny. He highlights the reverb on the snare. Right on this hit here. Let me show you guys a little bit better. Right here and right here, the snare are gonna have a little bit more of a reverb more, it's gonna be a little bit more present and a little bit more in your face. And actually, I think the first hits here are way more washed out with reverb. They are a little bit more bigger, let's say. It's more of a huge sound. It has a little bit more of a tail on the reverb, and then it turns a little bit more dry as it finishes the cycle, the loop. All right, but yeah, little snippets here, little variations here and there, and but it is this. It's gonna be repeating until this segment here. So let's listen a little bit from here. Interesting. I think there's a little right here. I think there's also a little bit of a variation on the stereo image of the snare. Yeah, it's like it's on the right, maybe, or maybe it's just a little bit more wider. As I said before on previous videos of other songs that we analyzed, those little variations, those little fragments, sometimes just a texture change, just an atmosphere change would give a lot of a movement to the song and keep the listener entertained. Something that it's an example of that, it's actually what happens here in this hi-hat. I don't know if you guys can catch this, but the frequency of this hi-hat is making a wave, like it's going up and down. It's like as if the hi-hat's opening and closing, open and closing frequency. It's creating this wave of a sound. So yeah, those little differences and minor changes, as usual, give a lot of joy to the track, a lot of movement and organic, and it feels the track feels alive, and it's moving, like it keeps things interesting and the listener entertained. Okay. The pad's gonna drop here for this 4-bar cycle. And we're gonna get back the 4 on the floor rhythm. So let's go from here. A drop on the pad, on this hi-hat. The chords come back right here. As I said earlier, we have 36 bars of this pad happening until it drops, and we get this 4-bar cycle here of the chords coming back. This hi-hat here dropping. And yeah, and it's gonna drop again the open hi-hat after this 4-bar cycle, and then we're gonna get back the 4 on the 4 kick. So let's hear for that. The hi-hat that I just showed you from the beginning, along with the 4 on the floor kick. It's gonna drop right here. Just the chords and the kick. I hear there's a lot of noise, but yeah, I just put this here because I hear some sounds, some weird sounds. And then the break kind of a beat happens again. With this different hi-hat. The open hi-hat comes back again. And we're getting towards the end of the song. The sample from the woman is coming back. Every time the sample plays, you can hear the bells swinging. The pad is gonna come back here. gonna drop just 4 bars. And things are gonna end actually with the same pad. Just the pad with this hi-hat. The chords dropped here too, along with the bass. And it ends just with the pad, opening the filter a little bit. And it fades out. Alright? So yeah guys, this was Xtal by Aphex Twin. This was a hard track to map things, to understand what was happening. I had a lot of trouble to understand that it was about it was about sampling, especially because, as I said, I didn't really linked Aphex Twin's songs to sampling, because, as I said, I feel like his songs come always from an original sound that he creates, and there is all the mystic involving the fact that he builds his own instruments and equipment and gear and whatever. But yeah, hope that you guys liked this, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and give me some thoughts and suggestions, and you know, what you guys think, what we could do next, you know, maybe throw some songs that you guys would like to see happening here. I'm gonna leave you guys with this little recreation that I did on the song, and yeah, okay, thanks a lot for watching. Till the next time.